What's going on, shipmates? We are back here. We are in Echo, and it's finally here. I finally completed it. Got it all worked out for the most part. But the team building slash best team combination video is here. This is it. I have gone a little bit into so general background how this is going to work. Is I'm going to go through each faction first, and then I'm going to do elements, kind of combines, things of that nature, some advice on how to use them. And then the last thing what I do is kind of be like what I think the best team in the game right now, up to right now. Because right now, as you guys know, I already covered her in my last video, but Mirage is here now and featured with Rhii and Phoebe, whole Eastrise banner. But like I said, so I'm not going to go over that part because, like I said, I've already reviewed that unit in my last video. So that's going to be up to them. So everybody else that's come out after the tier list and everything is included in these team building. So yeah, I'm going to start with that, and then we're just going to kind of dive into it. And I'm not going to go too deep into these skills and things of that nature. You guys can kind of go into it a little bit because like I said, I don't want to make the video to be like 2 hours long. I want to make it like 20-30 minutes, and hopefully that'll be it. And then of course, like I said, you can always look at the tier list where I go a little bit more into details when it comes to these units. All right, so we're gonna come over here and start with the basics. So as you guys have heard me before, I am going to make another video after this, probably in this upcoming week, maybe by next weekend it should be out, where it's basically character building. And that video is gonna be a little bit more pertaining on like all of this stuff here, the artifact, the Elemano, the assist, the witches, and it's gonna go into that deep dive. Right now, this video is going to pertain to the team itself, the 6 here. And like I said, because it's a lot, and like I want to kind of break it up and make it a little bit easier for you guys to like take in the information and whatnot. So that's about it. So first team we're going over is gonna be Eastrise, which as you guys know, if you guys see my videos, Eastrise is the team I default and I use pretty much all the time. Now there is a few changes because we do have 2 new Eastrise units, MRs, that have come out, and the 3rd one coming. So this is pretty much it. So there's a couple different ways that you can run these teams. Now it depends on kind of your play style. You can do heavy support where you want your units to be buffed up as much as possible. That is an option. You could do a kind of a more of a tank route where your front line is all 3 tanks and they're taking up a lot of the damage and you're lasting a long time. You pretty much outlive the enemy team by just having more health than them. And then of course there's like the crazy heavy attack where you can have, all 6 spaces at DPS and you're just essentially a glass cannon. You're just going, you're shooting, kind of just trying to put out as much damage and knock the team out before they can kind of catch up and just break you. So now, the way I have this laid out, I have 3 DPSs, 1 tank, 1 support, and then I leave the 6th slot as a special, depending on where you want to go with the team, just kind of how you feel, how you want to play it. It's kind of interchangeable in a sense. So that's kind of how all of these are going to be formed up, and I will let you know which ones are which. So Eastrise, we're going to start with the 3 DPSs. So right now, Phoebe, she is an AoE, so I have her there at the front. Next will be Rhii, who is not in the team yet, but she will be. Rhii will essentially go up here in place of Ahun, and that she's going to be your single damage DPS. So when it comes to the DPS, out of the 3, you can go 2 ways. You can have either 2 singles and 1 AoE, or 2 AoEs, 1 single. My preferred is 2 AoEs because you have 2 units at least doing damage to multiple units at one time, and then 1 who's just heavy hitting, laying down the hammer on individuals. So that's the way I have them set up. So I have 2 AoEs and then 1 single high damage target DPS unit. So yeah, so we have Phoebe, Rhii, and my third one is going to be actually Serene, which is very interesting. She is a different UR unit, but I'm basing this off of units that are max stars, right? If you have them, use them, things of that nature, because they'll put out more damage than your 0-star breakthroughs. But if I had them all 7 stars and I had to pick the best, these are the ones I would put. I would definitely take out Kabui and have Serene there instead. So that would be my third option for DPS. For support, I would do Baion. She is a healer. I mean, I don't like really using healers that much, but she does do a lot of support, shielding, and things of that nature. And she's SS tier, so she's up there when it comes to her skills. So she would be in the spot of support. And then for tanks, we do have 2 tanks right now for Eastrise, Katana and Mirage, who just came out. I'm looking at it. You can do either or. They do about the same output of damage. The only difference is Katana does a little bit more. And then she has the effects of burn, which causes later damage and things of that nature. And then she also does a lot of damage absorption for your allies. So for example, Kabuya, she's getting hit a lot. One of Katana's skills is she absorbs and takes some of that damage. Mirage doesn't do that as much. She does it a lot less, but her skills is just giving out more shields. She's giving out shields to allies, 3 in the back, things of that nature. So depending on how you want to do it, you have those 2 options. Me, I'd rather do Katana just because of the more damage output. And then, like I said, for the special kind of back and forth spot, you could either do another tank, which would be Mirage, or Shu. I have Shu here. Essentially, she is a support. She does do decent damage, so she's not bad at all. She's a S tier, not SS, and she just doesn't really do that much of support, and she's kind of like in between of everything. Now, Eastrise is also the only faction where you can have all 6 be MRs at the moment. So, I mean, if you want to get down to basic, you could do a full MR Eastrise team, and they're going to be putting out pretty much the most damage of all the Eastrise. I mean, if you want to get real basic and simple, I only changed a few people out just for spots, positions, and skill damage and things of that nature, like percentages and doing all that kind of stuff. So that's why I changed it a little bit. And I will write these in the description there, because I know this picture doesn't really show the team I'm explaining. So, and also there are some units that I don't have, which I can't really put either. Anyway, moving on. Next we have is Empire. Sorry, slight pause. I gotta write these times down so you guys can see which the breakup is. Anyway, moving on. So in these spots, 3 DPS, I have a special, a tank, and support. So for the 3 DPS, I have Kala, who I don't have on here. She is single and does a little bit of 2 enemies hits for AoE, so that's good. Secondary DPS is going to actually be Mel, who I have here in the back, for AoE. For Empire, we don't have that many MRs yet. As you can see, I think we only have 3 or 4, so not a full team. But so that's why I'm using URs in the place of some where other MRs would be, or until we wait till they get released. So I have Mel there for AoE, and then I actually have Damonica up there for a single damage AoE. She actually does about 700% damage when she's fully starred breakthrough. She's actually pretty good. That's why I believe she's actually one of the few URS tiers that we have. So that is why. So Empire, she works well. She's going to do high output damage, and she's the single target that you need for this team setup. So those are the 3 DPSs. My special kind of get to playing around with. You can kind of replace if you need to or switch it out. I actually going to put Nana. She is more support, but she does do good damage, and she does do a lot of buffs for your team. The only issue is it does take a little while to build up. But I would have her in there. I don't have her in the game yet, so that's why she's not in there. Next would be for my tank, Lyora. She is SS tier. She definitely needs to go there. And then for support, in the last spot, we also have Rorza, who is another support unit, SS tier as well. So not too bad. And like I said, unfortunately, because we don't have that many MRs, we have the 2 URs doing DPS. So you have a couple different options. You could lay it out kind of like this, the way I have it, or you can kind of take Damonica and switch her in the back and put maybe Nana up there. So you have the 3 in the front with the highest HP possible, and then your DPS are going to try to survive as long as possible since there are UR rarity and levels. All right, so next we have Bifrost. So for Bifrost, we have kind of the same situation, not too many MRs yet. So first and foremost, as you guys know, Koko would be in here. I don't have her. I've been trying to get her. She's also one of the single target DPSs. Excuse me. And she also does, she's one of the highest damage as well. Her and Phoebe both do 980% damage to a single target when they're fully 7-star breakthrough. So a lot of damage. But yeah, so Koko would be in here as your single target. I would have her definitely in the back lined up. You want to have her survive as long as possible since she's outputting the most damage on your team. Next would be Masa. Another one, unfortunately, I don't have, but she does do AoE damage, and that's where she would be fitting into that role. 3 enemies and not bad damage. Next would be Ashiri here, who we have in the front. She is also going to be your 3rd DPS. Now, for the tank, we have, for the support and tank, kind of doing the same role, you have Zoya. Zoya just came out not too long ago. I did give her an SS tier ranking. She is good, but she does play the role both of support and tank, giving out some shields and stuff like that, debuffing or taking away, debuffing some of your allies. That way they don't have, or taking away some of the debuffs on your allies. There we go. So you kind of have a 2-for-1 situation here. And with that, you have some room to play with. So with Bifrost faction in general, I did take a look. You have a lot heavy DPS units. I would say probably like 80% of the faction is DPS. Not too many tanks or supports when it comes to the URs and the MRs that we have right now. Not too sure about the SSRs, so that's something else. So with all that information, you can essentially have 4 solid DPSs, your tank support being the same person, and then having a kind of a interchangeable role, the special. Now, my decision was to put Juliette MR, just because she is MR level. She's going to have higher stats than most of your URs. She is a support unit, but she does do increase of like crit damage and crit rate for your team, which isn't bad. So what I would do essentially is have Zoya and Juliette be in the back, Ashiri in the front, some of your higher HP units in the front. So like Koko and Masa, I would probably, actually, here we go. Let's do this. Let's call, yeah, so right there. So that would be your front, because I actually do have Anna as the interchangeable part. So it'd be Anna, Zoya, Ashiri in the front. You got tank, you got a little bit of DPS, stuff like that. And then you have Juliette in the back with Koko and Masa. Actually, I would do Masa probably up here because she's going to have higher HP, and then Anna in the back with Koko. Bam, just like that. So, yeah, so let me just go with that. Moved a lot of people around. So Ashiri, Zoya, and then in the front would be Masa. She's going to be MR, but she's AoE. So she's fine up there in the front, handling it, taking some of the damage. In the back, you have Juliette, Koko, and Anna. Now, that's the way that's going to be laid out. And then for, like I was saying earlier, let me circle back to it. Anna's going to be your interchangeable fifth person you can kind of do a lot with. So I picked Anna or Vika. They're kind of like the best DPS units in the UR rarity for Bifrost. Do about the same damage. The only really difference is Anna has the potential to do a lot more. Things of that nature. She is an S tier unit, where Vika is a kind of on the borderline of S. So they're both up there. But out of the two, I would choose Anna. So that's Bifrost. Until more MRs come out, that's the way it's going to be. And you have some things to play with. So like I said, it's pretty cool with Zoya. She, like I said, she does do multiple roles in one, which is really good. And I do like that. I might actually mess with this team a little bit. I might have some fun with the possibility of having 5 DPSs. All right, moving on to the next and last faction is Nebu. Poor Nebu. They have no MRs at the moment. I'm not too sure if this faction maybe didn't get too much attention or anything like that during the UR phase. But yeah, there wasn't. I mean, even the URs themselves. There's only like 5 or 4. I'm sorry. There's only 4, and I have 3 out of the 4. So very, very interesting. But I do want to cover it in case you are maybe you like the Nebu, things of that nature, and you just want a full team of them. This is probably going to be your best layout. So Sharon is a very good tank. She's going to be in that spot. Sphinx is going to be your special kind of interchangeable. She is more support and counter damage. But like I said, she's UR, so she has higher stats and is able to do more damage than your SSR, so she's there. Next would be Hathor for your DPS AoE. And then next, who isn't here, which where Anubis is, I would be putting Osiris. She is a support unit, but she's UR, she's only the 4th one. So she goes in there kind of by default because of her higher stats. And then lastly, these two I would keep here, Nile and Horus. They're both DPS units, since some of your URs are more support and tank rather than DPS, but these are going to be your best options. With them being SSR, they do only have 3 skills, but their second skill has the potential to do some decent damage. So that's about it for the team factions. So next, we're going to move on into the elements. So what I'm going to do or start with is fire, excuse me, and earth. So earth is the most units we have for an element. We have 5 elements. I'm sorry, 5 units that are earth element. And then unfortunately at the moment we only have 1 fire. So let's see what they actually do and how this works. So you don't get any bonus on the element types. The reason why I put this together, because if there's same elements on a team, there are some benefits. It just doesn't pop up like the leader buffs in the same faction does. So first and foremost, fire. Katana is the only one. And what fire does is that after 5 hits, they do, can I, actually, you know what? Yeah, we can do that. Bam. Oh, no, I guess not. So fire, pretty much what it does more damage. I believe it's about 200 something percent that gets done, and then burn gets attached to 2, and I think it's 2 enemies. I have to double check. But essentially that's the only one. So if there was more fire element units in your team, that gets done more often. You know, instead of a 5, it'd be like, I mean, it'd still be 5, but now you have 2 instead of 1 unit doing these attacks. So not bad. A very DPS focused skill fire element. So that's how that works. Next is going to be earth. So what earth does, so as you can see here, we have the 5. It's going to be Shu. Juliette, Zoya, Rorza, and Mirage. All different types of factions. So you do get some leaders. So if you were to use all of Earth, you do get a little bit. And then, of course, with the 6th element there, fire, putting it in, you do get a little bit more buff. You can interchange it, probably do another Bifrost or Empire where you see fit. But for element wise, all those 5 are there. Now, I'm going to be going back and forth just so you guys can actually see these elements and kind of read them off to you, so that way you guys can understand what they do. So for, like I said, for element for Earth, we do have 5, almost a full team. So right here, when an ally Earth receives 5 attacks, so that's any of the other 4, grants all allies a shield equal to 10% of their max HP and applies protection to 3 random allies for 3 rounds. Can be triggered once per round. And then what is protection? It increases defense by 20%. And then when attack gains a shield equal to 10% max HP. So Earth, very focused on protection and giving you a shield. So not bad. I mean, especially if you have 5 Earth elements on your team, pretty much by the end of the first round, if they all get attacked, everybody's getting a 10% max HP shield. And then 3 of them are getting protection, and then it's just more and more shield that gets added. So a lot of shielding. If you're having trouble with lasting, or maybe none of your other team or units on your team don't give out any shield, that could be a way to go, right? Having a Earth element on your team, maybe 2, to kind of speed up that shield giving process. But that's a very good skill. And when you have multiple Earth elements on the team, since you do have 5, you do have the chance of that just pretty much happening every round, everybody getting shields, things of that nature. So not too bad. I like it. Next, we're going to be doing, if I can get through this. So that was Earth and Fire. Now we're into Water and Wind. So Water and Wind here. We have for Water. So Water is going to be, actually both Water and Wind both have 4 units. I am missing 2 of the Wind elements. So I have all 4 here. So we have Phoebe, Baion, Rhii, and Lyora. And then for Wind, you have Kala, Ashiri, Nana, and Jade. Jade, excuse me, is Eastrise, but she's actually hasn't been released yet. She is in the game. She is part of the video I did earlier this week where I kind of went over the 3 units that were coming. So she is in the game. She just hasn't been released and able to summon for yet, but she is coming. So she would be the 4th Wind element. So technically right now we do only have 3 active ones. So let's start with Water. Water is bring it back over here. So we have Water and Wind. So Water is good because Water is healing base, and it does give it to 3 allies when it activates. So, and essentially it's like I said, healing. Let's take a look. When any ally Water cases, so like I said, the other 3 that would be in the squad, receives 3 healings, heals all allies by 150% of allies' average attack, and applies water healing to 3 random allies for 3 rounds. Can be triggered once per battle. Water healing increases healing received by 30%. And then those with water healing share 50% of the healing received with other allies who also have water healing triggers. So pretty much you get healed. Once you get 3 healings, you do 150% heal. And then 3 of the allies get water healing. And then whenever those units that have water healing get more healing, they get healed. And then 50% of that is given to the other 2 units that have the water healing. So a lot of healing going on. But if you have 4 units in your team with water, I mean, essentially you're just getting healed every round, all the time, and you should be having like a lot of max HP going on. Maybe not even till like the 3rd or 4th round when you actually start seeing some damage being taken and being hit. So that is the benefit of the water, and we're going to take a look at the wind next. But as I would really suggest before the water, I don't think you need all four, but they all do different things. So like Phoebe is obviously, Phoebe and Rhii are DPS units, so not a lot of healing coming from them. But Baion and Lyora, Baion a healing based unit herself, so a lot of healing coming from her. And Lyora is a tank. I don't know if she heals a little bit. I have to double check, but she does do shielding. So Baion on the team with any other water unit would really actually benefit more because Baion is the one giving all the healing. So something to think about, things of that nature. So next is wind. So wind here, for every 2 attacks made by allied wind cases, it deals wind damage equal to 150% of the ally's average attack to all enemies, so full AoE hit, and then applies Windborne to 3 random allies for 3 rounds. What is Windborne? Permanently increases attack by 20%. That's a lot. When actively attacking, deals wind damage equal to 200% attack to 3 random enemies, triggers at most once per round. So for 3 rounds, 3 of your people not only are increased in attack by 20%, but they're also doing 200% wind damage to 3 random enemies once per round. So it's a total of 600% more damage being done every round by your wind element units. So that could be a strategy as well, since we only have 3 at the moment. But Kala, Ashiri, and Nana, they're 1 DPS, 1 support. So not too bad. You could definitely, especially if, like, for example, you had Ashiri and Nana, who are kind of little bit, they do decent damage. If you have them together, increasing their attack by 20% would be a big difference. Yeah, definitely. I would probably do water and wind. I would say might be a better output because you're doing healing, staying alive, but you're also increasing your attack by 20%. So your output from these units is going to be more. Interesting. Anyway, moving on. Last one that we have, which I don't have any of, is Thunder. So I'm going to come down here. Bam. So Thunder, as you can see here, is both Masa and Kokopelli or Koko. So for Thunder, this is what they do. Gains 100 pneumonia. So as you know, when you hit 100 pneumonia, your limit break skill activates. And then when you hit 4 rage, that's when your secondary skill activates. So essentially, when these Thunders get 100 from pneumonia, they deal thunder damage equal to 250% of allies' average attack to 3 random enemies and applies spark on 3 of them. So right before they do their limit break skill or their ultimate, they're doing a 250% average attack damage to 3 random enemies. Bam. And then they're doing their limit break skill. So 2 very big hits, possibly back to back. Now, what is spark? Reduces defense by 20%. 30% of damage taken by thunder cases is transferred to other allies carrying spark. So, there's only 2 units, so if the other team does have Koko or Masa, there's a chance for that. Because there's not that many, so that spark doesn't really, the secondary part of it. So, in summary, sorry, I lost my track there. I had to pause real quick, but spark, the first part, reducing defense by 20%, is good. So pretty much it's 250% attack, being damage done to 3 random enemies, and then spark on those 3 enemies, which reduces their defense by 20%. And then your thunder case is going to be able to do their limit break skill. So they're already doing extra damage to them on top of the 250% attack. So thunder is definitely good, especially because Koko is one of the highest damage output, and then both of them are DPS units. So Masa doesn't do as much as Koko, but they're both out there doing damage. So that is it for the element side. So like I said, we don't have that many elements yet because it's only the MRs excuse me, at the moment that have it. But there is some combinations that you can do to really put the elements to work and use. Like I said, there's definitely enough there to play around with, and then you can do definitely some earth. Like if you want your team to have a little bit more to last longer, definitely earth and water together, healing and shields going on, definitely will give you units more time for to last longer and health higher throughout the match. So, and if you just want to do a little bit more damage, there's wind for sure, and fire. I mean, fire, thunder, and wind all do extra damage. The best one you could probably go with right now would be wind at the moment. So now we're here at the last part. This is, in my opinion, the best team we have at the moment. Now this is 3 DPS units, 1 special unit interchangeable, can be filled by 2 units with that 1 spot, 1 tank, and 1 support. So who do I have in these positions? Obviously I don't have them all, so there's going to be kind of like some other ones in place of other ones. So first and foremost, for DPS, I have both Koko and Phoebe on the team. And I did that because one, they're both of them have the highest damage output. They both do 980% damage to a single target. So that's kind of an AoE, a little bit, but so yeah, so I would have both of them on the team for sure. And then I'm sorry, not Phoebe. I meant Koko and Rhii here. They're both single target damage outputters. Phoebe is going to be your AoE damage outputter. A lot of damage potential when you have her 7-star breakthrough. So those 3 are going to be your main DPS. They're going to be putting out all the damage, things of that nature. Buffs and everything are going to be going to them, and you want to put all the as much attack as possible when it comes to gear and equipment and all that on them. Next, we have tank. That's going to be Lyora there in the front, as you can see. Yeah, best tank in the game at the moment. She does shielding. She absorbs damage. She does a lot, and she's water. So when you have other water units on the team, like Rhii and Phoebe, who are both on the team, that's some healing going on. Now you have Baion back there, so all 4 water elements will be a part of this team. Things of that nature. If possible, Baion's interchangeable as well. So now those are your 3 DPSs. The tank Lyora. Next is going to be your support. Now you have 2 different options for support. You can either have Rorza here. Yeah, Rorza right here. Not too bad. Her support is more shields and healing. Things of that. And Zoya, like you said, does a little kind of 2-for-1, tank and support. And she does a little bit higher percentage damage compared to Rorza. So you have those 2 options. Now, if you want the best, in my opinion, I always lean toward a damage output more than support because, yes, you can support, do a little bit of healing, give shields, but if you're not doing damage to the enemy team, you're not going to take them out. So me personally, I would probably do Zoya, take out Rorza, and from that spot and have Koko there. Now the last spot, the special interchangeable, is Baion. Now you don't necessarily need a healer. Well, I mean you do, but you do have some support units here that are giving out shields and things of that nature. So you do have some support in that area of the healing. But if you actually want a good healer, because Baion is really, she is an SST healer and she does do decent damage as well, you can have her in that spot. But if you're like, you know what, I just want to be a little bit more DPS focused and just take out the team as quick as possible, then I would suggest to put Kala there. She is wind element and she does do more damage than regular DPS. So she does about 700%, not as much as, like I said, the 980s, but a little bit more than Phoebe, who's doing like 521 or 525%. So that's the team, shipmates. I'm actually very interested because the only person I'm missing is Koko. So I'm thinking of, I'm sure she'll come back around as a rerun, things of that nature. And I'm actually going to try to think about going for her and making this team and using this team. I mean, technically, I have it right here. The only thing I might do, would be to switch out Rorza for Kala. That would be the only thing because that's just who I have available. But essentially, this is kind of what it is, what it looks like. Yeah, and that's about it, shipmates. That's everything. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys have any other questions, things of that nature, please feel to comment on this video, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Like the video as much as possible so it just gets circulated more, things of that nature. And I'm trying to think of anything else. Next, like I said, next thing I'm working on is going to be the character building, where I'll actually go into artifact, elemano, assist, and witches and things of that nature, so you guys can see and know, and I'll explain how to use them, what they're for, how to level them up, where to get them from, all that good stuff. Yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, shipmates. Fair winds and following seas. I'll see y'all next time.